Welcome to One Off Outdoors. This video is being made to help those of you that find yourself getting stranded out on the water because your ski won't start. If you've got a 22 model or older, this may be your issue. And that is, what's happening is your flush port on your ski, as your engine cools down, let's say you've been driving around for a couple hours and you sit out somewhere and you don't run your motor for 2 or 3 or 4 hours or longer. As your motor cools, it can create a vacuum on that flush port and bring water back into your engine and up on your cylinders, and it's called hydrolocking, and your ski won't start. Now, this Seadoo says was created because as we kept putting more and more gear on the back of our jet skis, and then you have your live well filled with water, this puts all the weight on the back of the ski and creates this tilt and can create this vacuum, and it can cause your ski not to start. So on the 23 models and newer, they have put in a couple of apparatuses, some Ys and some hoses, to create a vacuum block so that as that water tries to come in, they're going to force that water higher up above your motor. And they're also going to have a line that's going to allow air to come in to break that siphoning effect or to break that vacuum so the water won't come in on your cylinders. If you've ever bought that Lynx deck, and I have 3 skis and I have one on every one of them, you would get this hose kit with no instructions. So I didn't know what they were for, like all of you, so we just kind of pitched them out. Well, come to find out, that hose kit is what this video shows you how to install. I haven't seen a video anywhere on planet Earth that shows you how to install this. And so I hope this helps. Definitely, if you have the 22 models and older, this is a must. You need to get this put on your ski. Let's get to the installation. At the first of the video, you're going to see a parts list, and you'll have to go to your Seadoo dealer to get these parts and the hoses. Okay, so the first hose we're going to address is this top hose here, and it connects to the back of your ski, and then it goes underneath and ties in to the base of your motor right over here, right below this. So it ties in, it doesn't go run under it, but it ties in there. Okay, we're going to split that in half and put in this connector, and that's going to suspend from right up here. All right, let's go look at it on the 24 model. Okay, so this is it as it comes new on the 24 model. Here's that hose. Again, you can see it goes, just the small one right there, and it goes right to the back of the ski. So we follow it up. It goes into this splitter. And then this other big side here goes right back into the bottom of the motor, just like on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this up high, get it above the water level. That way that water can't come in and it can't get back into your motor. And then the small pipe is going to vent it out. Okay, it's going to go this way. Okay, so this is the configuration for our small hoses, our 1/2-inch hose. So we put our splitter in here. My big exhaust, this is like a big 3-inch one, was actually rubbing against this fiberglass and wearing a hole in it. So I put a piece of hose here and hose clamped it on to keep that from rubbing. So you need to check this hose to see if it's getting wore right here. All right, so while I was editing this video, something caught my attention that I hadn't noticed before. And in the piece of the video that you just saw, you saw where I put a guard on that 3-inch black hose because mine was actually rubbing against that fiberglass. And so I put that on there to protect it. On Joe's 22 model, his hose is zip tied to that. I think what happened on mine, and I think for all of you out there that have had more issues than others, your hose may have also rubbed that zip tie, and what happens is that drain port hose, that flush hose, winds up getting cut. It falls and lays down on the floor of the ski. And that's why maybe one person that has a 20 or 21 or 22 model is having more issues than another person. Joe has also had hard start issues from time to time, but not near to the extent that I have. So this may explain why some are having trouble and some aren't. Now, I will say this, the new little apparatus with the little vent pipe on that 1/4 inch rubber hose, that is needed to break that vacuum. So I still think that just having that zip tied up won't solve the problems, but you also have to have that vent. So I'm curious, leave something in the comments if you've had those hard start issues, and when you take your black cover off, if your flush port hose is no longer zip tied high, but it has fallen and you've had more problems, because I think that might be a big part of the issues that I've been struggling with. All right, let's get back to your installation video. Small hose comes here, comes around, and runs into your Y. This is a piece that you'll buy. The single end goes back out through here, and there's gonna be a black plastic box right here, and you're gonna have a port. This splitter comes back to this hose, and this is, you got a hole here, so that's gonna be suspended to this, kind of in this area right here. And then we'll look at see where these two larger hoses go. This vent pipe is in case there's an overflow, water can go in it, it'll go all the way down into your jet pump, right down in here to your exhaust, and it'll all blow out the back, okay? Now, if I was going to put, this is a little rubber grommet that's going to go on the top of that box, and I'm picking it up tomorrow. There's a 90, there's a 1/4 inch 90 that's going to connect onto this hose and go into that grommet that's going to the top of the box. To get the box out, I would have to remove all of these big hoses, and then I might get lucky and it'll pull forward. And that is just, it's just too much. So if you want to do that, you can. For me, what I did is I came 9.5 inches back from the edge of the fiberglass right down the center line. And I took a razor blade and I cut the rubber, and then I peeled it back, pushed it back with a flathead screwdriver, opened that up, and then I drilled it out. Now, I drilled that hole out with a 27/64 drill bit. Okay, I didn't mention this in the video. When you drill your fiberglass out, get it all cleaned up, and then just run your drill bit through that hole until you fill the top of that plastic box. Now, that plastic box is really thin. So once you fill the top, make sure your drill bit's nice and straight. Just drill through, get the top of that box drilled out, and don't ream it out. Just nice and clean, and then right back out. Reach your hand in between the fiberglass and the black box. Reach in there, get all that swept out of the way, and then run your rubber grommet through there. You want to be careful. Now, that box is pretty deep, so I seriously doubt you're going to drill all the way through the top and bottom, but do be careful. Only drill through the top, run your grommet in there, and you're good to go. That's a little bit smaller than this grommet, so that grommet, because it's just going to slide in. You can see there's no ribs or anything that are going to hold it. It's going to slide in into that plastic box, and then that 90 is just going to push down into it, and you can access that with your hand and shove that right down. Now, what I'm going to do to fill in this hole is from the underside, I'm going to take a piece of duct tape, and I'm going to duct tape the hole in the fiberglass from underneath, and then I'm going to backfill that hole with some of this 3M adhesive. And then all of this foam will push back together, and that'll seal it off, and this deck will never leak. So that's how I got in this vent. All right. And you have to have that vent, by the way. And it has to go into that box. If you just left it open and you got a backflow, then the water would just go into the hole of your ski and it would fill it up. So this vent does have to go into that plastic box. All right. Okay, so this video, if you look right there, you can see that black tube right there. See how it vents into the top of that box? That's what we're going to be replicating on my ski. So let's take a look. On this ski, this is the 24 model. Again, it has all this piped in. That box and that hole where that vent is in the top of the box is about right in here. You just have to be somewhere in the top of that box so it's venting and going down. So that's why on my ski, I took off the center line here 9.5 inches, and I just put a hole right through here. It would have been nice if I could have went through here, but you'll miss the box if you try to drill through that hole. So I just created a hole right here, and I backfilled it, and everything's working out. These are the lengths of the tubes. Remember, this is this Y joint. This is 4.5 inches. And that's what's going to go into the hole that you created here, 4.5 inches. This one, the long one, is going to tie back in to this main right here. And that's going to be 14 inches long. And then this one that goes down to the second Y, it'll wrap around and come back to the second Y. That's going to be 8 inches in length. Okay? Now, you can tie up and tighten all of these hose clamps. You'll leave this one off so you can feed this 4.5 inch back here, and you'll leave this hose clamp, you'll just leave it down here. You leave it loose because once it gets situated in here, you're going to have to turn that 90 to where it goes straight down into that container. Once you get that inserted and straightened down in that container, then you're going to ease it back out and then tighten that clamp. That way you'll know that that's in the right position. Okay, I'm going to do my best to try to get you a good shot at this. All right. So you can see, I'll run my finger through here. There's the brass connector that goes down in the top. There's that short piece. And then the others are going to curl back through here. You can see the short ones that are curling right back through here. All this, that's where that Y is. Comes out. This clear hose, if it's high and in your way, you can slide it down through that zip tie, slide it down a little bit. It just vents out. It's another vent line, would be my guess, because it doesn't even tie anything. It just goes down to the floor. Again, this is zip tied high. This gets this up as high as you can, you know, above the motor. And then you're going to zip tie the small line right here too. And that's going to just keep this from sliding down, because you can see this is looped through here. It could try to slide down on you. That'll hold that in place. Those two zip ties will hold that there. Now we're going to take his splitter that's back here, and we're going to run it out right through here. And this is going to tie back in to your toe tap, which is going to curl all the way around your motor, all the way around through here. Whoops. And then come right down through here, and it's going to tie into where this electric line is, and this creates your toe tap. Okay. And again, it doesn't go far underneath here. It just goes about right in there. And I want mine set up to where my toe tap is right here, because this is where my front seat comes off, where this black panel, the black panel goes to this hump. So as long as you've got your T right in here somewhere, and that's where mine will be, right here. You want it turned sideways like that, and you want it to be kind of out here, and you'll be able to zip tie it in so it doesn't rattle up against your ski. And you want that turned inwards, just like that. And you always want to open. This is open. Okay, you can see all the way through there. This is in line, which means it's open. Okay, so we've got our toe tap installed up here toward the front. There's just some wiring harnesses in here. You can put a zip tie around your hose in here, and that'll hold that in place. And then if you look down the side, you've got this other hose here. You can just zip tie it in there, and that'll hold all this steady. That way this is steady. This keeps it up here. Ideally, if I had it to do over again, I'd like for that to finish right in that gap, right there. Right in that gap. That's okay. That'll work. But if I was y'all, just scoot over. That way you just don't ever have to run any risk about it hopping or bouncing on your motor. It kind of gives it a nice little void right here to go into. And there's your battery down there. So this still gives you access to your battery. Move that out of the way. It's still got quite a bit of flex to it. Okay. And I think, yeah, I put one more zip tie down here where this toe tap hose, zip tied it in right there. You can see right here. That gave a little bit more support to all of this that's up underneath here. Okay, so everything's together. Just one last final rundown. Remember, this is the pipe that comes out of the back of your ski. That's what your water hose comes up to. That's your flush port. You come up here above your motor, which breaks that siphon and breaks that vacuum, and then it ties right back down in to the bottom of your pump right down here. Then you've got this vent that curls right up in here, goes into that Y. And then any overflow water is going to go into that container. Remember, we drilled our hole through here. It goes in that container and it exits out the back of the jet. So that water has a place to go. Now your toe tap line, remember, it's going to come straight out of the back of your ski. It's going to loop all the way around, go around the top of your ski, go around this way, put in your cutoff valve, and it comes all the way back and it ties in. There's another Y just like this. It's just a different size hose. And it connects in right here, okay? It goes back in and ties and makes this full loop and then ties back in here. This was the line that went straight underneath your motor. So your toe tap is the one that goes all the way underneath your motor. And then your wash port is the one that comes in right here. So there's two hoses. This is your wash port. Another one's going to be for your toe tap that goes all the way under. All right. This has been quite an install. Hopefully it's going to be easier for you all because I was able to get measurements on your hoses and show you the parts and show you what it actually looks like. This would have been absolutely impossible if I had not had my 23 and 24 models to look at. There's no way I could have done this. Just absolutely not even close. So hopefully for those of you who have the 22s and 21s and older, that let's hope this fixes our issue that we've had with our skis flooding and not starting. I'll take it out and we'll see if I get a better performance. All right, guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all like, share, and subscribe. Keep watching One Off Outdoors. Y'all have a blessed day.